So today I wanted to tell you guys a story about when I was bitten by a wild dog in Taiwan. It all started like any other day when I was out for a run. It was actually the first time I had ran like a long time. I used to bike and like do other things, and for whatever reason that day I decided that I should go running, which, I don't know, in hindsight it must have been a bad idea. It was my first day out running. I went to a park that I had seen before. It was like, basically there was nobody there. So I felt like I could have the whole place to myself. I wouldn't have to worry about other runners or worry about other people being there. I could just run in my own privacy. I headed to the park. I was listening to my music. You know, it was like a really nice day. There was nobody there like I expected. I basically just started running like for like 5 seconds. I was going up these stairs and I noticed like on my right side there were a few dogs and like a guy that was staying with them. But I didn't think anything of it because I had never been attacked or bitten by a dog ever before. So now I would have noticed it, but back then I didn't think anything about it. I went up there and then I ran up the steps. Here is where I made my first mistake, because I could have just kept running and like gone around the park and just went home or something. But what I decided to do instead was go around the corner, down another set of steps, run back around, and then go up the steps again, because I thought it would be better exercise or something. When I decided to do that, when I decided to loop back around, there was a brief moment when I was running straight towards the dogs and the guy. What I think happened was the dogs basically just saw me run by and they didn't think anything because they're used to runners. And then when I looped back around and started coming back, it basically, to their point of view, seemed like I was running straight towards them. I barely made it up the stairs a second time when I heard barking, like really intense, running towards me, and then I turned around and I saw like 3 like really dirty dogs running towards me, and I couldn't even think. The next moment, one of them was biting my leg. I don't know, I ripped off my headphones. The dogs ran away back towards the master, and I walked down the steps. I didn't notice that I was bleeding or anything. I was so freaked out and I was focused on the guy, because I half expected him to like freak out and be like, oh my god, my dog just bit you, what can I do? But he didn't say anything. He was just standing there. He didn't even notice. Like, I mean, he saw that they bit me, but he didn't say anything to me after that. So I was standing there and the dogs, all 3 of them were looking at me like around it. I really wanted to go say something to him because I'm like, your dog just bit me, can we talk about this? And so every time I walked to get closer to him, the dogs would like viciously like bark at me and like almost, they never bit me a second time, but they almost bit me because like they were so protective of him that anytime I got close they were like ferocious. I don't really blame the dogs for biting me. Like, in fact, I guess they were just super protective. I don't know, at the time I was really mad, and so what I did was I walked to the street and I was looking for like a cop car to drive by. I could like flag him down or something and get someone to help me, or because I basically just wanted to talk to him. I stood on the side of the road for like 15 minutes, and at this time like I started noticing that my leg was bleeding a lot, but I just stood there. I probably should have gone straight to the hospital. I just stood on the side of the road and was waiting for a cop car to drive by, and after a long time nobody came by. I actually dialed 119, which is the 911 number for Taiwan. I actually called the police and told them where I was, which took a little bit because I knew kind of the name of the park, but I wasn't sure like which exit or entrance I was, so that took a while to figure out. And then when they finally showed up, the homeless guy was still there, and there were three policemen that showed up, so I took them to him and I was kind of trying to explain in Chinese like what happened, that I was running, and I said I was worried that, like, sure, it was just I was an adult or something like running by and it bit me. Had it been a kid, I think the damage could have been a lot worse, because it was able to like beat by my leg and do a lot of damage. So I don't know, if a kid was running by, that's what I was concerned about, so I wanted to talk to the guy. So the police brought me to him and we talked, and even like when the police were standing there, at that point he had his dogs on leashes, but the dogs were still like ferociously trying to like get to the police. If he didn't have a leash on it, the dog probably would have bit one of the policemen. But basically they took my information and the guy's information. I saw like when he pulled his ID out, like he almost could barely pull it out. It seemed like he might have like a mental issue because he couldn't really speak normally or move normally. So yeah, and I figured these dogs are probably all this guy has. I've actually seen him there. Every time I go by that park, he's there with the 3 dogs, so yeah. But basically the police told him that he has to put a muzzle on the dogs, and that's pretty much all they said. Like, they didn't take him to, they didn't like call animal control or do anything like that. What he said to the police was, my dogs don't bite normally. They only bite you if you're running, if they see a person running by. So at that point, I like walked past the policeman and was yelling at the guy because I was saying, hey, if you saw me running, you probably should warn me or tell me to stay away or say watch out. Or put your dogs on leashes because you're in a public park. There are going to be people running by. That's what I was yelling to him, and like it didn't seem like he was even listening, and the police were just kind of standing there. At that point, I just kind of gave up. Realized that I probably should just focus on getting to the hospital. I thanked the police and we walked away. I think I saw the guy like walk away too. He like went down the street. I went to the hospital. It was the wrong hospital, so I had gotten a taxi and took it across town to a bigger hospital which has like the rabies vaccine and everything, and they can take care of it. So I went there and they washed it for like 10 minutes. They rinsed the wound with like cold water for 10 minutes. Running it underwater is the best thing you can do when you get bitten by a dog, they say. So then they gave me like a special shot for getting bit by wild dogs, which I don't know the name of, and then also like the rabies vaccine, which was part 1 of 4. So after I got the shots, I went home and it was still like really raw. I couldn't really walk very well. Every week for the next 4 weeks I had to go back and get another shot, which wasn't that big of a deal, but because I didn't have insurance, I had to pay 2,000 NTD per shot, which it works out to around 66 USD. So in total for the whole thing I spent $330 because I got bit by this guy's dog. Because I decided to run up the stairs, go down the other step, and then turn back around. So it was a really big hassle, and you know, it was pretty intense, but in the end, like, the wound healed nicely. You can still see the scar. You can still see like the 2 bite marks where he bit. That was probably the last time I ran, I think, because ever since then, like when I'm going running or when I tried to run, I had like post-traumatic stress disorder. Like anytime I would see a dog or anything, like I would get really freaked out because it happened when I got bit before. It happened so fast that there was like nothing I could do. It was like instant. So now when I see other dogs, you know, I kind of freak out. Now, like, I usually ride a bike or something. I don't really go running that much. I think that is something I should try to overcome because this isn't like a normal experience. I was at kind of like a weird park where nobody's ever there, which is probably the reason that guy was there in the first place, because he probably figured that nobody would even be running there. I don't blame the dogs, and I don't blame the guy. I've been in Taiwan for 3 years, and that was like the only incident I've had so far. So all in all, Taiwan is a pretty safe country. It was kind of a crazy experience, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I think, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting situation. Be sure to leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions about any part of the story that you didn't quite understand, or if you wanted me to go into more detail about something. We're up to 7 subscribers now, which is totally awesome. This is my first time doing like a story vlog, so be sure to let me know what you guys thought about it. If you want me to do more, leave a comment down below, like my video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.